Physics paper 1 next Wednesday. Of course there's going to be a practical on there, and one of those is specific heat capacity. Once again, this is everything you need to know and all of my best tips. Always think about the purpose, which in this practical is to find the specific heat capacity of a substance. That substance will be a liquid, or it could be a solid, something like a metal block, and the method will vary slightly depending on which you have. But fundamentally, what you need to do is the same. This is the equation for specific heat capacity. If you rearrange it to get specific heat capacity equals, you end up with this. So in order to find specific heat capacity, you need to know the energy supplied to something, the mass, and the change in temperature. So if you're asked to write your own method, focus on those three things and how you find them. Hey, if you're finding this useful, don't forget to like and follow. Back to it. Starting with the mass, same as always, you would use a top pan balance or weighing scales to find the mass. And if we're talking about a liquid, of course, just pop that into a beaker and put that onto your balance to find its mass. Next, we'll whack a thermometer in to measure temperature. Remember, we want temperature change, so we need to measure the start temperature, and we'll also need to measure the temperature at the end. At the end of what, you may be thinking? Well, we're going to supply energy using a heater, so you'll have to pop that heater into your substance as well. We'll use an electrical heater so that we can measure the energy that it supplies using a joule meter. Now, it is possible to calculate the energy supplied with a voltmeter and an ammeter instead if you don't have a joule meter, but if you get to choose, just say use a joule meter to measure the energy supplied. It's so much easier. One last consideration, we need to make sure that all of the energy we supply with our heater goes into our substance. So it's important to mention that you insulate the substance and place a lid on the top, especially if we're talking about a liquid. If we're testing a liquid, having that lid on the top will also prevent any evaporated liquid from escaping and effectively changing the mass, which would be bad. So we'll leave that bad boy on for a bit, supplying the energy, and let that joule meter tick along and the temperature increase. At the end of this, turn the heater off and measure that final temperature on our thermometer. Now then, we have the energy supplied from our joule meter, the temperature change, the difference between our start and final temperature, and the mass from our balance that we did at the start. All we need to do is pop those numbers into our rearranged version of this specific heat capacity equation, and you've found specific heat capacity. Just a couple of considerations. If you want to improve the accuracy of your experiment, you might want to use a temperature probe rather than a thermometer. Also, you could obviously repeat the experiment many times with the same material and calculate a mean. Any other things you'd need to say going towards improving the reliability of the experiment would be to do with insulating the material. Also, if we're talking about a liquid, when we're heating it, we could talk about also stirring it as well. And that's that. So make sure if you have any Physics Paper 1 topic requests, pop them in the comments. I will see every single one, and I'll make videos for as many of them as I can before Wednesday. Good luck. And yo, you've done 2 weeks of exams now. Well done. Make sure you have some rest this weekend.